Welcome to the Craft of Coaching podcast, where we dive into what it truly takes to become a skilled, confident life coach. I'm your host, Kate, head of the CLCC, or Certified Life Coach Collective, an ICF-Accredited Level 1 coach training program. We combine courage, coaching, and community to offer you more than just a training program, but a life-changing experience where you use your own personal transformation as the learning ground for supporting your clients. On this podcast, we explore how you can use coaching skills to support your clients or expand your own growth, all grounded in evidence-based coaching practices. Learn more about our program and get free resources for becoming a life coach at teamclcc.com. And now, here's today's episode. Well, hello there. Today I have got an episode that I think is going to be really helpful, and I also have a bonus asset that will come with this episode. So let me start from the top. Today's episode is about 5 questions to ask clients who are stuck. And the thought process behind this episode is that if you have ever been in a client session and you're trying to help that client land on a focus for the session, and it's just circling around this idea of stuckness, being stuck, how to get unstuck, and it's really hard to find an entry point, these are 5 questions that I'm hoping will be really helpful for you. Here are the bonuses that go with this. The teamclcc.com website now has a subscriber library, and only those who are subscribers get access to the library, and I have been peppering it with assets. So a couple of things, if you sign up to be a subscriber over at teamclcc.com, that you will get access to the business building checklist, which is really, really helpful for if you're feeling overwhelmed about building a business and like, what are all the things I need to be doing? Here's a checklist for you. And I even make some recommendations for specific software, third-party providers, things like that, that I have used before and I think are fantastic and am excited to share with you. The next asset that is just for Team CLCC subscribers is called Better Than Blogging. And it's ideas for ways to build out your business, to tell people about your coaching philosophy, your approach, all of that, besides just content creation right on your website or your blog. So that's another resource. And last but not least is the Get Unstuck worksheet. And this is a worksheet that is for Team CLC subscribers that as a coach, you actually have permission, as long as you don't alter it, to use with your personal coaching clients. So if you would like to get that worksheet so that you are able to offer that to clients as something that you two go together and collaborate on during a coaching session, fantastic. If you want to offer them that worksheet as something that they can work on their own, journaling, reflecting on the questions that are asked, fantastic. All of that is totally fine. Just don't alter the PDF is all that I ask. So if you are already a Team CLCC subscriber, you will have received an email with the access to the resources. And if you are not yet a subscriber, of course, you know how this goes. It's 2024. Head on over to teamclcc.com, become a subscriber, and you will get access. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make an announcement that I'm just so thrilled about. So many of you know that I took some time away from being online, running a business. It was intended to only be a couple of months, and it ended up being 2 years, which on the other side of it, it was necessary, it was helpful, it was good that I did it. On the downside of it, there were a lot of programs that I was running that during that time I had to step away from. One of those programs is the Coaching Blueprint Digital Marketing Program, and I am thrilled to announce that the Coaching Blueprint program is back. If you are already somebody who has used the Coaching Blueprint in the past, within these past couple of weeks, you should have been getting contact from my team regarding how you can access the Coaching Blueprint and some information about a fun little new program that I have started to offer. And I also have updated the Coaching Blueprint completely. So It's new content. I've gone through every single chapter. I've added some content. I've pulled some things that I felt were outdated. So essentially, you're getting, if you're already somebody who has the coaching blueprint, you're getting an updated program with new assets and new worksheets and things like that. And of course, you do not have to pay again. That would be weird. You paid once already. If you are a coaching blueprint user and have not received any communication from us, it could be that your email tied to the coaching blueprint program is outdated and you used to use an old email and now you use a different one. And maybe we've been contacting you at the old email. So if that is you, then just reach out, support@yourcourageouslife.com. Let us know your name, what an old email might be, your receipt if you still have it. We will totally get you hooked up. And last but not least, if you are not currently a coaching blueprint user, we have a fun offer code for you. So if you want to be somebody who gets marketing help and resources, this program, every time it's updated, you are getting all the updates. Basically, if you want to make more money in less time, because I'm telling you, here are the things that I have seen work. And I have made lots of mistakes in my business and been like, well, spent money on that and that wasn't worth it. And I have seen things pay off in my business. And a lot of things have been changing in the world of marketing just in the past couple of years. So I'm giving you the nitty gritty of all of that. And there is an offer code that you can use. If you go to coachingblueprintprogram.com and then decide to get the coaching blueprint, use the coupon code blueprint and you will get a discount. Now that discount is time bound. So if the discount is not working, if you think it's an error, reach out to my team, support@yourcourageouslife.com. We'll get you squared away. But if it is past the deadline of when we're offering this, which is going to be through to mid-July, that would be something where the coupon code will expire. All right, so I know that was a lot of talking, but I just really wanted to let everybody know that we've got these resources now for Team CLCC subscribers that are going to help you to either build your business if you want to go that direction or help building what you're doing with your clients. And then also Coaching Blueprint program. It is back and updated, and there's just a lot going on in the world of coming back after being away for a few years. And I'm excited, frankly, to be back at it. So if you couldn't hear that in my voice. All right, let's get into the 5 questions that can help your clients get unstuck. So really it's how can we as coaches best help the clients who are stuck? And I started off today's episode talking about this, where you've probably been the coach many times. I know I have many times, where you start a session and you're trying to help your client land on a focus for the session. And the client is mostly talking about feeling stuck. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that, right? We've all been there. Like, we know something's not quite right. We're trying to figure out the right words for it. We can't quite get the right words. And we're just like, I just feel stuck. But the job for you as a coach in those times is to try to find some kind of an entry point into some way that you can work with the client around that feeling stuck and try to move or shift that state of feeling stuck. Often when clients are stuck, it's because they're trying to make a decision of some kind, whether a decision between 2 options such as job A or job B, or a decision to take an action of some kind, maybe adopting a new set of habits or a new lifestyle, new belief system that they plan to enact consistently. So today I'm offering 5 questions that I think can be helpful to ask when clients feel stuck. And of course, with each of these questions, do keep in mind it's always important to stay client-centric. I would never suggest that you as a coach or coaches artificially inject these questions into a session or dissuade a client from the questions the client wants to explore in order to prioritize these questions. Always stay client-led. That is the big thing behind everything. So here's the first question. I'm going to give you the question. I'm going to, for each of them, give a little bit of context with how or why this question might be helpful, or some things to think about in terms of how you want to frame it. So the first one is, what are the benefits of being stuck? So here you are, you've got this client who they're telling you all about how they're stuck. They're so stuck. And to them, stuck is a problem. And I get it, stuck is uncomfortable. Let's empathize with that. But the question is, so what are the benefits of being stuck? And with this question, you could guide the client to identify patterns of self-sabotage, the ways that, or you could go into the ways that delays could be helpful. It all depends on how the client wants to take this question. So the client might identify how they are clinging to being stuck, ways that they are self-sabotaging through being stuck. Sometimes when we're afraid, think about it, that's what we do. We obsessively focus on all the reasons that something won't work out or can't go well. And in that way, being stuck is a way of saying, we can't move forward. It's not our fault. I mean, after all, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in all these bad circumstances. And the client might be benefiting from staying stuck in that way. And it undermines their best efforts to change. So what are the benefits of being stuck? Another way that someone might take this question is to literally start identifying the benefits of being stuck. Like, why do we always assume that being stuck is a bad thing? What if, in fact, being stuck for a while is giving you time to consider options? If your client, for instance, feels stuck around making a decision, maybe there's a reframe to stop seeing being stuck as a bad thing and seeing it as, hey, there's an opportunity here to slow down. There's an opportunity here to reconsider. There's an opportunity here to try something new, to think outside the box. It's looking at that bigger picture of how sometimes delays are a divine intervention of sorts, regardless of what you believe spiritually, but just sometimes delays end up panning out for the better. Sometimes the time we spend being stuck can lead us in a direction or to an avenue that we would not have expected. Here's the second question for helping clients to get unstuck. It's one of my favorites. If you could have it any way you want it, how would you want it? Anyone at Team CLCC, if you've done workshops with me, you've probably heard me say this question. It's one of my favorites. If you could have it any way you want it, how would you want it? And the reason that this is by far and away one of my favorite coaching questions is because of how many times I've been holding space for a client and asked that question, and their whole voice changes. Oh, isn't that the best feeling when someone they're in it and then suddenly they're considering something from a totally different angle? Oh, I love this about coaching. Often our clients get stuck because they feel trapped between a few options and none of them seem appealing. So, for instance, a client might say that they feel stuck because they dislike their current job, yet I don't have the credentials to find a new one. So I feel stuck. There are no options that appeal to me. But if they play with this question, if you could have it any way you want it, how would you want it? You might arrive at the client thinking outside the box. Like maybe they don't like their current role at an organization because they work at a large corporate conglomerate where they feel like a random employee, just like kind of anonymous, another like widget maker at the widget factory or something. Maybe that same role though, but within a small, more intimate startup, would give them a sense of connection and renew their interest in their work. So if you could have it any way you want it, how would you want it? This often gets clients talking about how they want to feel. And how you feel is not always dependent on circumstances. You can feel better sometimes, even in the midst of very difficult circumstances. It also can have clients suddenly throw something your way that is totally unexpected. Like, if you could have it any way you want it, how would you want it? And then maybe someone says, well, I mean, if I could have it any way I wanted, I just wouldn't do this job. And I've actually always wanted to be an interior decorator. I totally want to be the next Joanna Gaines. but that'll never happen. And now suddenly you've just opened something up like, wait a second. Maybe you're not going to be the next Joanna Gaines because there's only one JoJo, but what is this desire that I didn't even realize you as my client had to go do this thing in interior design? So, question number 2, if you could have it any way you want it, how would you want it? Question number 3, to ask clients who are stuck. What's the larger context of this situation amid your overall life? When clients feel stuck, there's usually at least some sense of inflating a problem to be bigger than it actually is. We've all done this, right? Like this thing that feels so huge, and then you have a good night's sleep, and then suddenly it's like, oh, actually, it's huge, it's hard, but I think I can figure my way through this. When we remember the context of our overall lives, we can shrink the problem a bit. For example, maybe if you're a business and marketing coach and you're working with a new client and they feel like they're doing all of these things to create content and start a business, but they aren't yet really seeing enough traction, and that feels really hard and they feel insecure about it. And maybe they're feeling like it's them and that their work sucks and, all these really common things. And by the way, if I can just briefly editorialize, if that's you, if you're like, I feel like I must suck because I can't get a business going, this is so common. And even established entrepreneurs who have launched things a bajillion times, who make 6 figures, raising my hand on this one, still feel insecurity sometimes of like, I did this thing, I thought it was going to work, it totally did not work. It didn't gel with my audience. It didn't get the sales I expected. People wanted something similar, but not quite what I was offering, so I had to adjust. This stuff happens. So keep it in context. What's the larger context of this situation amid your overall life? Asking your client what the larger context is could help the client to put their struggles into that greater context of their entire lifelong business and career. I mean, think about it. If you're starting a business, this is just the beginning. Of course, it's harder in the beginning. And of course, you don't know what you're doing in the beginning, because it pretty much is that way for everyone. That's just how this goes. That's just how this rolls. All right, question 4. This is a juicy one. If they're trying to decide between a couple of different choices, you could ask your client, which choice best supports the person you are trying to grow into? Which choice best supports the person you are trying to grow into? Because from the vantage point of right now, your client may be feeling like their only options are the options that they feel like they have capacity for right now. You got to remind your client that there is a future self that this client is trying to grow into, and that can help with the decision making. We never get to change things in life or go after what we want in life without going through some kind of friction when we do what it takes to change. I'll give you a metaphor. I love weightlifting metaphors, and I love them because even if you aren't a weightlifter, we've all tried to lift something heavy before that we couldn't quite lift. Even if you aren't a weightlifter, you inherently understand no one ever learns how to deadlift 500 pounds without first deadlifting 100 pounds or 200 pounds. And no one expects that they won't have sore muscles as their bodies adapt to lifting heavier weights. If someone thinks, I'm stuck here because I can't imagine how I'll ever lift 500 pounds, they're being short-sighted. That's not an insult. It's just they're being short-sighted. They're not realizing what needs to happen here. They're forgetting that there is a future self out there that can lift 500 pounds, if only the time and effort and consistency is put in, over time, of course. So when a client is stuck and trying to figure out what to do, it's helpful to remind them of this future self that they're birthing. That right now in this moment, they might be looking at what they need to do and going, I don't have capacity for that. But with time and effort and being willing to learn and being willing to course correct and being willing to walk through the discomfort, there is a choice out there that will support the person they're trying to grow into. So that is question 4. Which choice best supports the person you are trying to grow into? Last but not least, sometimes when clients are stuck, part of the reason that they're stuck is because they don't feel ready yet to move into what they need to be doing next. And I say need to be doing from the perspective of logically there are things you will need to do differently to move to a different place to progress in your life. But I think sometimes in coaching, we get way too caught up in the idea that forward progress is always the answer. So the question that you could pose to your client who feels so stuck is, what would create more ease right now? Staying put and waiting, or choosing an option and dealing with the consequences? And then you get to actually look at that question with your client. By the way, as a coach, it's very important that if you ask this question, you do so in a way that isn't leading the client. Make sure that your tone is neutral. There is a difference between asking this question as, I'm going to try neutral first, what would create more ease right now? Staying put and waiting, or choosing an option and living with the consequences? And a leading tone, which is, what would create more ease right now? Staying put and waiting, or choosing an option and deciding to deal with the consequences? Like that intonation on one versus the other can unconsciously influence the client's response by giving them a sense of what you think they should say. And the point I'm trying to make with this question, what would create more ease right now? Staying put and waiting, or choosing an option and dealing with the consequences, is, and there are different ways to phrase this, of course, like if you don't like words like consequences and everything. But the point I'm trying to make with this question is that, what if the greatest benefit your client could possibly get would be to just stay put? We don't know. They don't know either, frankly. Nobody knows what the best, quote unquote, best choice is. We're not, you can't predict the future. And asking a question that opens up some space for your clients to not have to go, push, find the next option, always be innovating, always be improving. Some of your clients might need that. This is where knowing your client is really important, because for sure, there are clients who are constantly staying put and waiting. You might need to modify this question a little bit. Instead of creating more ease, if you have a client who's constantly wanting to do whatever's easy, you might need to modify this question a little bit. Maybe it would be something like, what does your gut say about what's best for you in this moment? Staying put and waiting, or choosing an option? So you can modify these, of course. You got to know your client, but just keep in mind that sometimes clients feel stuck because they don't feel ready to move forward and take action, but they feel like they're quote unquote wrong for just staying put for a minute. They feel like something's wrong with them for not pushing to innovate and be better and all of that. And this question can provoke a really rich discussion between coach and client for the client to understand themselves better and understand where they're making decisions out of fear, where sometimes they might just need to pace this out a bit. They might just need a break from always going. It's just a very rich question. So not forcing your client in the direction of movement can, oddly enough, end up being something that breaks up some of that stagnation and stuckness and gets them feeling like, oh, I have permission to stay where I am. And now that I feel like I have that permission to just be where I am, I actually feel like I can choose an option that moves forward. So those are the 5 questions. And another rich way to work with these questions with your clients is to consider asking these questions as a between session exercise. So that was actually what sparked the idea of, let me pull these questions into a worksheet format that coaches listening to the Craft of Coaching podcast can use with their clients. So if you'd like to get that worksheet and any of the other resources that are just for subscribers. Head over to teamclcc.com, become a subscriber. You'll get access to the library of resources in the welcome email that you get. And I am just really excited to see how you use these resources and, of course, continue to let me know. By the way, I'm expanding out a little bit into what I'm doing on social media. If you have noticed that Facebook and Instagram are a little slow these days, like there's a whole thing I could go into about what's going on, what I see going on with Meta, with Facebook and Instagram. I am expanding into other platforms. So basically, if you would like to connect in a couple of other places, LinkedIn is one place where you can connect. Find the Courageous Living Coach Certification business page on LinkedIn by searching for Courageous Living Coach Certification. There's also a YouTube channel. Head on over to YouTube and search for Your Courageous Life, and you will find the channel. And I have been putting content on YouTube Shorts, which has short little videos, about a minute long, and they're on a variety of different topics. Getting motivated, inspirational quotes, learning to forgive yourself. And then I'm also having so much fun over on TikTok, where I am Kate Courageous. So if you would like to connect with me on any of those platforms, I would welcome it. I hope that these resources are helpful. And here's to you becoming an amazing coach for your clients and supporting them to create the lives that they want the most. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Before you go, would you help us out and take a moment to give us a rating in iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening? It really helps us get the word out to other listeners. And before you go today, would you like free resources to support your coaching journey? Whether you're considering becoming a coach or you want advanced coach skills training, access our coaching resource library at teamclcc.com. Again, that's teamclcc.com. Can't wait to connect with you. And again, thanks for listening.